China is spending £1 trillion to dig a tunnel under the sea, 125 kilometers, straight through. This is the Bohai Strait Tunnel, and it changes everything in the north. On one side of the water sits Dalian, one of China's biggest port cities, the gateway for cargo flowing in and out of the northeast, home to shipyards, refineries, and some of the most advanced manufacturing in the country. On the other side sits Yantai, a booming industrial city in Shandong province, connected to China's central rail network, its highways and factories. These two cities should be natural partners. They are roughly 125 kilometers apart, but right now, they might as well be on different continents. Every truck driver, logistics manager, passenger moving between northeast China and the rest of the country faces the same brutal choice. Option 1. Board a ferry. Wait in line. Sail for 6 to 8 hours depending on which service you catch. That's most of a workday gone just crossing a stretch of water that a bird could fly over in under an hour. Option 2. Skip the ferry entirely and drive the land route. But the land route adds approximately 1,400 kilometers to the journey. That's the same as driving from Paris all the way to Warsaw just to go around a body of water you could theoretically swim across on a very determined day. Now multiply that wasted time and distance by thousands of vehicles and passengers a day, hundreds of freight trains a week, millions of tons of goods every year. The economic drag is significant. Some estimates put the cost of this bottleneck in the tens of billions of yuan annually, money bleeding out of China's economy simply because there's no direct route across the Bohai. And it gets more complicated. China's northeast Liaoning, Jilin, Heilongjiang, these provinces were once the industrial engine of the country. Steel mills, coal mines, heavy manufacturing. But over the past 2 decades, that engine has been sputtering. Investment has shifted south. Young people have moved away. The old industrial heartland has struggled to compete. Connect it properly to the rest of China? That changes the entire equation. So, what exactly is China proposing to build? The Channel Tunnel, the famous underwater link between England and France, is about 50 kilometers long. When it opened in 1994, it was considered one of the great engineering achievements of the 20th century. It took 6 years to build, required tunneling through some of the most challenging geology in Europe, and at the time was one of the most expensive privately financed projects in history. The proposed Bohai Strait Tunnel would stretch 125 kilometers in total. The full corridor, including bridges to the Changshan Islands, with the Undersea tunnel section alone running 90 kilometers beneath the sea floor. That's 2.5 times the length of the Channel Tunnel. If completed, it would become, by a wide margin, the longest subsea rail tunnel ever built. The plans call for a high-speed rail connection, 3 parallel tunnels side by side, 2 for trains running in opposite directions, and a 3rd central tube dedicated to maintenance and emergency escape. Trains designed to travel at up to 250 kilometers per hour, Dalian to Yantai in around 40 minutes. Goods, passengers, and vehicles flowing freely across what is currently a multi-hour ordeal. The economic logic is compelling. Connect the 2 most significant port cities on opposite sides of the Bohai directly, and you don't just help Dalian and Yantai, you unlock the entire Bohai Economic Rim, a region home to hundreds of millions of people, and one of China's most important industrial concentrations. Think of it like this. Right now, the Bohai Economic Rim is like a wheel with a broken axle. The rim is their cities, ports, industry, but nothing connects them efficiently through the center. The proposed tunnel becomes the axle. And when the axle is in place, the whole wheel has a chance to start spinning properly. Beijing, Tianjin, Shandong, Liaoning, all pulled closer together, supply chains shortened, factories able to source materials faster and ship products more cheaply. A region that has been underperforming for years, potentially connected to the pulse of China's economy with direct, high-speed arteries. Now here's where the story gets complicated. Because building this tunnel is not just a matter of money and ambition. The Bohai Strait presents, from an engineering standpoint, a genuinely formidable set of problems. First problem, the ground itself. Under the Bohai, you don't get one type of rock. You get everything: hard granite in one section, soft mud in the next, cracked fault lines in between. For the massive drilling machines that dig these tunnels, that's a nightmare. They need the ground to be consistent. Second problem, the seismic risk. The Bohai region carries significant earthquake history. In 1976, the Tangshan earthquake, one of the deadliest natural disasters of the 20th century, with an official death toll of around 242,000 and unofficial estimates running far higher, struck just south of the Bohai. The region sits in an area with active fault systems, and engineers planning any major underground structure here have to design for earthquakes, not just hope to avoid them. The proposed plans include expansion joints capable of absorbing seismic movement, segmented lining rings, and continuous structural monitoring engineering ambitions that have never been tested at this corridor length. Third problem, the water pressing down on top of you. Most of the Bohai is shallow, about as deep as a 6-story building tall, but the deepest stretch the tunnel has to cross drops to 80 meters. That's a lot of water sitting above your head. At that depth, over 90 kilometers, even a tiny crack in the tunnel wall is not just a leak, it's a disaster. And right now, engineers are still figuring out how to make sure that never happens. China's engineers have been examining this problem since at least the 1990s. According to reports, a feasibility proposal was submitted to the National Development and Reform Commission around 2019, though no formal approval has followed. The current leading design features 3 parallel bored tunnels, 2 for rail traffic and 1 for service and emergency access. Some recent reports have floated 2035 as a speculative completion target, but no firm timeline has been officially confirmed. What China has already proven, on other projects, is that it can work in difficult conditions. The Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, which includes a 6.7-kilometer undersea immersed tube tunnel section, demonstrated China's ability to assemble complex underwater structures in open water. But the Bohai proposal is a different order of magnitude entirely, and engineers across the industry treat it as genuinely uncharted territory. Quick pause before we get into geopolitics. Videos like this one take dozens of hours to research, write, and produce. If you're enjoying it and want to help keep this kind of content coming, you can make a small donation through the first link in the description or the pinned comment. No pressure at all, but it genuinely makes a difference. Now, back to the story. China's northeast, sometimes called China's Rust Belt, has been one of the government's most persistent domestic challenges for years. The heavy industries that once powered its steel, coal, shipbuilding have been contracting. The region's GDP growth has consistently lagged behind China's south and east. Young workers have been leaving for better opportunities in Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Beijing. It's a pattern with echoes of what happened to the American Midwest over the past 4 decades. Beijing has attempted multiple rounds of revitalization through investment campaigns and policy incentives. Some have worked, many have not. The underlying problem has always been structural. The northeast is geographically cut off from China's economic heartland, separated by the Bohai, disconnected from the rapid logistics networks that have made China's coastal south so dominant. A tunnel is intended to solve that problem at the infrastructure level, and in China, infrastructure-level solutions, when they do happen, tend to stick. There's a layer beyond economics. Look at the broader strategic map. Dalian is one of China's most vital ports. It's the primary exit point for cargo flowing from the northeast toward the Pacific, and it hosts significant port and logistics infrastructure. Strategic planners who think about long-term supply chain resilience have noted that a direct underground rail link connecting the northeast to the rest of the country, one that bypasses maritime routes, entirely carries value beyond its economic case. A tunnel never closes. Typhoons, frozen harbors, rough seas, it keeps running. When every ferry shuts down, the tunnel does not. After watching supply chains collapse during the pandemic, that matters a lot to China. And if the tunnel is ever built, the ripple effects begin immediately. New logistics hubs positioned along the corridor, manufacturing clusters that can finally source materials efficiently across the strait, real estate and urban development around the terminus stations in Dalian and Yantai. The kind of concentrated economic energy that China has seen flow from its other major infrastructure investments, the high-speed rail network, port expansions, and bridge crossings. So the big question, will China actually build this thing? Right now, the Bohai Strait Tunnel is still a proposal. No concrete has been poured, and no machines are in the ground. It has been studied, debated, and pushed forward for decades, but it has not been officially approved. The cost alone is staggering. Estimates put it somewhere between 200 and 300 billion yuan. And China's economy right now has real pressure on it. A struggling property sector, slower growth, a tougher global trade environment. Some reports mention 2035 as a possible target, but no firm date has been confirmed. Nobody is breaking ground tomorrow. But look at what China has already done. They have built the Three Gorges Dam, the world's largest high-speed rail network, and the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. Every single one of them was called impossible before they started. When China keeps coming back to the same idea, decade after decade, the question stops being whether and starts being when. But here is what really stays with you. If this tunnel gets built, what comes after? Because connecting the Bohai Rim does not just fix a traffic problem, it shifts where factories want to be. It changes which ports rise and which ones fade. It could tilt the balance of China's entire economy from south to north. And in the background, planners are already drawing the next ones. A crossing between China and South Korea, a corridor connecting Asia to North America across the Bering Strait. Each one sounds like science fiction until the one before it gets finished. The Bohai Tunnel may not exist yet, but the ambition behind it very much does. And if you made it this far, thank you. That genuinely means a lot. These documentaries take a lot of time to research, write, and produce, and the channel runs on that effort. If you enjoyed this one and want to help keep more coming, you can make a small donation through the first link in the description or the pinned comment. Every contribution, no matter the size, helps more than you'd think. Now, if what you just watched got you thinking about how China is re-engineering the way its country moves, you're going to want to see this next one. While this tunnel is still being planned, China just finished building 157 kilometers of highway with no human workers on site. Not a single one. The machines did it all. It's already live on the channel, link is right up here and in the description below.